Hello, Internet. I'm Angela. I'm a director and creator. We here at Nerdsmith would like to wish you a very happy Nerdsgiving. The time has come for our second annual Nerdsgiving charity event. 2 weeks of playing silly games with our friends while putting a little bit of good back into the world. This year, we are supporting Heifer International and their fight to end hunger while caring for the earth. They gift families and communities income-producing animals and provide the training to turn those animals into sustainable businesses. For the next 2 weeks, that's November 1st through the 15th, we here at Nerdsmith will be running animal-themed RPG one-shots and giving away delightful prizes during the streams. Stay tuned on Twitter for the latest show schedule or donate today at fundraise.heifer.org/nerdsgiving. It's bound to be amusing. No, don't cluck up this opportunity. No, just play the outro.
We are Nerdsmith. Bum ba-dum.
No. We're gonna try that again. One more time. From the top. We are Nerdsmith.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dead Men Tell No Tales, a Ghosts of Saltmarsh story. I am Tessa, your dungeon master, and you can find me on Twitter at Silky Dreams. And welcome to the second week of Nerdsgiving. Last week, we kicked Nerdsgiving off by reminding folks in chat that a portion of all donations and Twitch subs and bits will be going to benefit the Heifer International. I almost said the Heifer Project, which I don't think is their name at all. No. But so thank you guys. I hope that if you guys can, if you feel like you are in a generous mood, please donate to help end hunger worldwide. Also, if you would prefer to donate directly, you can go to their link fundraise.heifer.org/nerdsgiving and donate there as well. And those who donate at that link will be entered to win a drawing of some really adorable animal art prints. So, without further ado, let's jump in and get introductions from our cast. Coral.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Heather. I play Coral here on Dead Men Tell No Tales. You can also find me here on the Nerdsmith Twitch on Tuesdays for Shenanigans, where I play Val, the half-orc cleric. And I'm also on the Geek Thyself podcast, which releases every Wednesday, and we talk about a new subject every week.
Excellent. And Crackers.
Good evening. My name is Crackers. I play the role of Crackers, the awakened parrot bard on this program. With me is my assistant and erstwhile helper, Matthew, who does my dice rolling and such. He did ask before the stream started that I let you know that his podcast, The Land Above, has premiered its second arc and has just this day published its first piece of bonus content, exclusive for Patreon pledge supporters. So if you wish to check that out, you may go to patreon.com/TLA podcast.
Excellent. You guys should go check it out. It is amazing. Fortune.
Hello, I am Jay. I play Fortune. You can find me on Twitter. I do art stuff like the art for this stream and other things sometimes.
And Gwilyn.
Hello, I'm Autumn and I play Gwilyn Hayes. And I'm an artist and writer. You can find all my stuff on my Twitter, Lasalanta Blaze.
And Jaffer.
Hi, I'm Zach. I play Jaffer, and you could find me here every Friday, or on our public Discord, or you can find me on Twitter at DuskFadeRuid.
Excellent. So last time you narrowly escaped a sinking ship thanks to Coral's Luterodine abilities. You all were luckily able to breathe underwater, but Coral's swimming prowess was able to get you all to shore safely, where you found yourselves on a uncharted island with a group of furbolgs that call themselves the Beachbolgs. You discover this idyllic farming community where they are one with nature and do their best to not impact any of the local ecosystem, but work with it in order to have a beautifully functioning lifestyle. While your main ship is several days away, Coral was able to contact them to come and get you, and coordinates have been shared, and they should be to get you in a couple of days. In the meantime, there is plenty to do on the island and around the compound to help, put food on the table, make ends meet. Including one of the things you did last time, which was you went and got a dragon turtle at Egg so that they could have a new plow beast. Dragon turtles being incredibly intelligent creatures, their relationship with them is symbiotic, and if a dragon turtle decides that they want to move on, then the Beachbolgs do not, keep them against their will. But a new dragon turtle is definitely in need, so you brought one back, including a baby who decided that he wanted to go with you after finding quite the monstrous horny-toed devil creature. In exchange, you also have now a pet Wolpertinger baby, because you needed one apparently. Much like Jaffer is collect all of the people, Gwilyn seems to be collect all of the animals. You have been told that there are a few other chores that they could use some help with, including potentially getting a baby kraken to help police their oh my gosh, the word just left my brain, their seaweed pond, because they wanted to make sure that any seaweed that they harvest is cultivated on their own compound rather than endangering any of the local species. Gwilyn was incredibly excited about the idea of a baby kraken. So let's set sail, shall we? Coral, it has been a full day and night of sleep after rescuing your friends. You arrived on the island exhausted and grateful for the company that you found here. You remember someone shaking you awake yesterday and giving you something to eat, just so you could keep your strength up. And today you come to consciousness feeling a little strange, as it feels like something is in your arms at the moment, almost like a stuffed animal. And you look down, and instead of a cozy stuffed animal, which you would imagine would be made of fleece and soft cloth, you see a tiny little drake, very chubby in nature, having shoved himself up in between your arms like you were cradling a stuffed animal, and is snoozing away and reeking of alcohol. You do remember vaguely being introduced to Suds, the alehouse drake, before falling asleep. And apparently he decided that you were a cozy place to take a nap.
Well, that's an interesting way to wake up.
The rest of your friends are there, and they look healthy and hale and whole. And they all start to wake one by one.
Coral is gonna like gently poke at Suds to see if he'll wake up.
There is a exaggerated snoring noise as you do so.
Really? You know, you're kind of cute for a little drake, but I don't want to be sleeping with you all day. I've got things to do now that I'm awake again. Poke, 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 poke.
There is no response.
Who wakes up first?
Let's say Crackers wakes up first.
Morning, Crackers.
I'm assuming I see this drake.
Yes, you do.
Would you like me to get rid of him?
I was gonna ask if you could help me move him, actually. I don't necessarily want to just throw him onto the floor. They did kind of help us after all.
She'll cast Mage Hand and pick him up and put him on the table.
And you easily move him without complaint and without waking him up.
Thank you.
There's an empty tankard. I shall plop him into that.
That's pretty much normally where he hangs out, so it should be perfect for him.
Well, it's pleasing to know that you're feeling better, that you're at least conscious today.
It's nice to see you too.
Yeah, but when isn't it?
All right, all right. And she's gonna sit up and kind of wince a little, like she's stiff. Ugh. Well, that was a longer sleep than I've had in a really long time.
I dare say you've earned it.
Probably safe to say. What have you lot been doing while I've been sleeping?
Oh, it's quite the tale. I would imagine that Gwylin is well prepared to explain to you exactly how and why things transpired the way they did.
Carl, you're awake!
Morning. How are you doing?
I mean, we lived. Partially thanks to you. Actually, a lot thanks to you the other day. Yesterday, though. Well, that was a thing. But
what did you lot get into yesterday then?
You say that like it happens all the time. Well,
I've met you.
That's valid. Well, you see, first we weren't sure if we'd been kidnapped or not, so there was a bit of a discussion about that. If we have, they're very nice kidnappers. I'll give them that.
Agreed.
And then we were wandering around the farm here, the compound, and they were showing us all these baby animals and Coral. We did some work, and we got a baby Wolpertinger.
We've got a baby Wolpertinger for the ship.
It's the cutest thing. No, it'll be totally practical, and we've already worked it out. See, Jaffer and I are both going to take care of it. Whoever's not captaining at the moment will take care of the Wolpertinger. It'll be fine. Nothing could possibly go wrong with this.
Yes,
No.
it's actually sleeping over there on Jaffa's face.
It is. I think I moved around too much for it and it went over there to her. But that's all right.
Jaffer snoring loudly.
And then we saved that. And then we saved some baby dragon turtles. Because we made possibly a bad decision and we almost died. But, we didn't. So there's that.
Well, the bad decisions and the almost dying seem to be pretty regular for us, actually. But I'm glad it didn't happen.
They do a lot.
I almost lost a leg. I didn't.
Learning.
Morning.
But he killed that giant toad thing, so...
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to see everyone's got all their limbs attached still. Especially if you're dealing with baby wild animals around here. What else do they have?
Oh, they had a lot of things, but what's really, really important here, and you've got to back me up on this one, is... Yes. See, they've already heard about this. But the other thing that they asked us to do around here, since, we've got free time anyway, is it involves baby kraken. I know we didn't have the best time with the grown-up one, but hear me out. It's a great plan because we can raise this one. We can talk to it and we can raise it. And take it with us.
Can we talk to it though? Is that actually a possibility? What language do they speak?
I don't really know. I'd have to check. Listen, the books that I read were mostly weren't about caring for krakens, and they were more sort of people die and
right. 100 ways to not die from a kraken. Yeah, I've read the same one.
Yeah. I heard it a lot. It sounded really exciting though. I mean,
number one is don't go in the ocean, but that's not going to work for us.
Right. So already it wasn't going to work. So at that point it was just, what else can we learn from this book? And we learned that having a kraken on our side would be a really great thing, is what I learned.
Are they intelligent enough that we could develop a bond with it, though?
One way to find out.
I believe they are quite.
I suppose we could awaken it, but that.
I do think they're pretty intelligent. I don't know exactly how much, but I'm fairly certain they're intelligent.
I wouldn't know. I've never talked to a kraken before. I don't know if I can.
I'd love to try though.
Well, depending on what languages it speaks, we might be able to, or at least one of us. And they do have spells we can cast at some point that let you talk with animals, so that might work. But I think it's going to depend on if we can actually communicate with it well enough to make it like us and not just try to, slowly gum us to death in our sleeps.
It will love me. Obviously.
How big is a baby kraken?
I'd leave that to Gwilyn. I would be very concerned if I tried to talk to a kraken and it spoke Infernal.
Agreed.
Speaking of Fortune talking to things, though, the egg, the dragon turtle egg, talked to him. Yes. So there's a possibility that we might have a dragon turtle as well. Again, don't worry, Jaffer and I have it all worked out. It's going to be just fine.
The one in the egg, it likes me.
I'm working on the other one because I don't know. I'm sure they wouldn't let us have both, and that does seem a bit excessive. But we'll just try and make friends with both of them. I'll take whichever one we can get.
And if it wants to come back, it can come back.
When Fortune mentioned the dragon turtle egg liking him, Jaffer snorted derisively in her sleep.
As you guys are discussing this baby kraken, one of the Beachbolgs comes in, especially when you were speaking about the intelligence of a baby kraken. And Shimris comes in and goes, "Oh, Oh no, they're quite intelligent. We've found that hand raising them, you really do form a good bond with them almost immediately. I mean, they're self-sufficient from the time that they're born, so you don't really need to do a whole lot for them. But if you take to hand raising them, you really can develop a good relationship. We've used them to great effect here on the farm.
Shimrus, your hair is gorgeous today.
Oh, thank you.
Well, if that's true, Gwilyn, then I'm on your side. Let's get a baby Kraken.
Yes, I've got one.
Well-
I've mostly talked Jeff around as well, which means currently we have the majority.
Oh, so you guys are willing to go and help us get a baby, another baby Kraken for our seaweed pond? That's fantastic.
Yes.
Sure. Well, yesterday's adventure wasn't so difficult.
I'm gonna tentatively say yes since I wasn't here yesterday, so I don't have all the details yet. Or well, I guess I was here, but I was asleep, so it's the same thing.
You earned it.
Thank you again, by the way, Shimrus, for your and your friends' hospitality. It's really appreciated.
Oh, of course. We don't get visitors very often, so we're glad to be able to provide hospitality when we can. The trip to the Kraken's home is a little bit of a trek, so I'll provide you with some supplies and things. And in the meantime, if you are hungry, we do have some fresh French toast and berries, and I believe that we are going to be gathering some fresh honey from the dire bumbles as well, if you guys wouldn't mind lending a hand. If you like fresh honeycomb, that is.
That sounds delicious.
It is.
So, Coral, you were not there to hear, but these dire bumblebees that they are talking about are basically these softball-sized, fuzzy bumblebees that produce honey for the compound, and they are very docile. You can pet them, and they'll snuggle you because they're little fuzzy bees.
You made soot sprite bees.
I did make soot sprite bees, basically.
I approve wholeheartedly.
So, as you guys, Crackers, I assume that you are still keeping up the charade that you are a mere parrot and nothing else.
Crackers?
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, who is interested in going to help with the bumblebee harvest? Sounds like you're harvesting bumblebees instead of honey. Who is going to harvest honey?
Coral wants to see them, so she'll help.
Okay.
Plus, she really wants to just get out of bed.
Gwilyn would probably follow, she excitedly telling Coral about the day before. All along the way.
Coral does a lot of head shaking.
Does anyone else join them?
What's the alternative?
Staying in here with Suds?
I'll go.
I want to go to see the dragon turtle egg again because it liked me.
I shall go with fortune.
All right. So Gwilyn, Jaffer, and Coral, you guys are heading over to the bumblebee apiary, and you can see the hives all laid out, and it's still fairly early in the morning. There's this nice cool mist in the air, and the bees are just kind of, you can hear this very pleasant humming from the hives. You see the Beachbolgs getting ready to head over. They've got little smoke misters, but they don't seem to be worrying about any like precaution from stings. In fact, you upon closer look at the bumbles, they don't seem to have stingers.
That's interesting. You said they were soft, they were that big, but they're absolutely freaking adorable. Like little balls of poof on wings.
Right. I couldn't work out the idea of a hive on the ship, though, so I just let that one go.
It'd be hard, honestly, especially with bees, because they need the flowers and all. We'd have to have all sorts of flower beds all along the edges of the ship.
It just seemed like a lot of trouble. I don't think it'd go well.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of work. And we don't have a druid on board, so they can't make the little flowers whenever we want.
And I'm terrible at gardening, so that wasn't going to work.
I'm not bad at it, but it's not my best thing either.
Fortune.
I'm sure I could do it.
Oops, sorry.
I'm sure you could, Jafar.
Go ahead.
Fortune and Crackers, as you are walking towards the compound where the baby dragon turtle is being kept, you feel a slight tremor underfoot. And then it seems to have passed.
I shall cast message to Fortune. Did you feel a slight tremor?
I did. Don't know what it was though.
As you continue on, a few moments later, you feel the same thing. A little bit more forceful this time.
I'm gonna look around to see if there's any of the Beachbolgs around and see if any of them look like they're reacting to this.
Give me a perception check, please.
$24.
As you're looking around, you see a couple of the Beachbolgs that are over by the apiary freeze in their tracks for a moment and get a concerned look on their face. You hear a quick series of sharp whistles ring out from one of them, and more Beachbolgs appear with various farming implements in hand. And you see what looks like something that has been burrowing get a little closer to the surface as you watch little pebbles and rocks kind of move out of the way as you see almost this little tunnel start to appear as whatever it is about to surface. Gwillin, Coral, and Jaffer, you're starting to feel the ground tremor as well as, and you hear this series of whistles as well. Everybody around you now seems to be more alert and a little alarmed.
What's that?
Earthquake.
I don't remember any of those yesterday. Is that normal around here?
No. Not an earthquake. Probably a honey bullet.
A what now?
Honey bullets. It's harvesting day. They might be smelling the honeycomb. We should be cautious.
That sounds not good.
No, they really don't give a shit about what we're doing. And as Shimra says that, you see bursting forth from the ground a black and white stripe with kind of this yellowy nose up across its head. A bullet with the strangest coloring that you have ever seen. And it's making its way right for the beehive. Please roll initiative. Heather, would
That 20. 23
Nice.
total.
Heather, would you be willing to do our initiative tracking?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Who got the nat 20?
I did. Total of 23.
A 13 for me.
12.
Nat 1, so a 3.
Honey bullet, don't give a shit.
Noted. What was yours, Gwillin?
12.
Alrighty. I think it's pretty safe to say that Fortune is going to go first here. So
Yep.
why don't you go ahead and tell us what you're doing, Fortune?
I'm going to move up to it, and I'm going to hit it 3 times, and also my fists count as magic now. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I count as magical, like a magical weapon now.
Great. Good to know.
And if I hit, I want to do a stunning strike on it to stop it from moving forward.
Perfect.
Got a 19, a 15, and a nat 1.
Well, the 19 hits.
I won't. Is it within 5 feet of anyone else that are one of our party?
It is within 5 feet of a Beachbolg, which I will count as part of your party.
Yeah, so I get sneak attack. And I want to use stunning strike on that one.
Sounds good.
Six damage.
Alrighty. Coral.
Okay, I'm going to cast I don't want to use that spell. Okay, so I'm gonna cast Bane. I need a charisma save.
That is a natural 20.
Well,
-3, so that's a 17.
That's still higher than my charisma save, though, unfortunately. So, that doesn't do anything. All right, and I'll do Bardic Inspiration for Gwylin. She hasn't attacked yet. Long day at work. My brain is gone. Watch out for the sharp bends, Gwylin, and aim for the throat.
Noted.
It is. We just leveled, so I have to check what my Bardic Inspiration does now. It is a D8. And remember, mine you can use to roll and take away from an attack against you, or you can add it to your damage.
Awesome.
And that's it.
All right, so the honeybewlet is looking around, and Fortune, you did smack it, and it's not happy about that. So it is going to. Oh, it does have to make a con save. 1 second.
It's not a high DC.
That is a 15.
Yeah, it made it.
Okay. All right, so it's going to try and hit you with a bite attack. That is a 18. Does that hit?
Yes.
Alrighty, so it does 22 piercing damage as its very sharp claws and teeth kind of sink into you. And Crackers. Crackers, you are surrounded by a bunch of these Beachbolgs too. It might be a little difficult to keep up your act of being just a normal parrot with this many people watching.
Yes, well, it was nice while it lasted, I suppose. I'm going to fly over to Fortune, seeing him take such a grievous wound, and I shall cast a 3rd level Cure Wound.
Are you trying to be stealthy about it to keep up your appearances, or no?
No, I shan't bother.
All right. No one seems to notice. Apparently, they're all very much more focused on the bullet attack.
12 points of healing for Fortune.
Excellent.
And that should be all for this turn.
All right. Gwilyn.
Great. Gwilyn charges forward at the bullet and makes her attacks with her dual rapiers. Okay, first is a 12.
That does not hit, unfortunately.
Next one also misses, but I get 5. And the one after that is I've got a 26 and an 18.
Those definitely hit.
Don't forget your inspiration.
I was gonna add it to the damage.
Ah.
They were really low. They were really... The second one I rolled was even lower. So okay. And then the last one is, I'm sorry, I don't remember if I said it was also an...
I know that your last 2 hit, I believe you said.
Yeah, they were 5 attacks, right?
Wait.
Yeah, 5 attacks. So the last 3, because 2 of them were 18 and the other one was over that.
All right, sounds good.
20.
Tales from the Grim, thank you so much for the follow and the wonderful comments about our players' costuming. They do a fantastic job.
20.
20 what?
27 damage. No, 26 damage. I'm sorry.
26 damage, okay.
And that.
Alrighty. Jaffer.
Jaffer scampers forward on her little feet, and she pulls off a disc off of her belt and throws it underneath the bullet, and it opens up and a bunch of bubbles come out. Has to make a con save.
Alright. Let's see. That's a 4 plus 5 is 9.
The bullet begins to rise up 5 feet in the air as she casts Levitate on it.
You see these little tiny legs as you really only kind of saw the first half of the bullet coming out of the ground, and as it starts to rise, you see like the little rest of its legs kind of like scrambling in midair, trying to find purchase on the bubbles as it begins to levitate. It's still gnashing its very shark-like jaws together, but it's pretty much not able to find purchase at the moment on anything.
Wrangle it. That's her turn.
All right, Fortune, can you wrangle that bullet?
Maybe. I'm gonna try to punch it again. I'm gonna do a flurry of blows this time. For 4 attacks.
Alrighty.
One of them was a 17.
That will hit.
18. The other one is a 19 on the die. The other 2 were very bad.
All right.
$14 damage, and because I used Flurry of Blows, I disengaged and just sort of like duck back a step so I don't get bit again.
All right. Coral.
So seeing it floating in the air, Coral's actually going to attack with her net.
Alrighty.
And I get 2 attacks now. So the first one was a 15.
Unfortunately, that does not hit.
The second, so she reels it back in. The second one is a 19.
That will hit.
So it doesn't do any damage,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, but says a large or smaller creature hit by a net is restrained until it is freed.
All right, so you have restrained the bullet.
Yes, and it has to make. It can use its action to make a DC 10 strength check.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is its turn, so it is going to try and make that strength check. Unless you have anything else that you want to do.
No, not yet.
All right. That is a 15 on the strength check.
Okay, so it does manage to get out of the net, but it's still floating, I believe.
How large are these bubbles that keep it floating, and is it concentration?
It is concentration. The bubbles just flare. It is concentration spell lasts up to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's up there until I say so, or until 10 minutes passes.
All right. So it looks like it's trying to move. It looks like it's trying to jump or something, and it just seems to not be finding any sort of purchase. Crackers.
Hello. Well, this is odd. I shall hold an action to cast Cure Wounds on Fortune again, should he be harmed.
Alrighty. Let's see. Gwilyn.
Gwilyn will try to stab up into its underside because it's a little less armored than the top, and it's up now.
Alright.
Okay, they were all above 18.
Fantastic. Go. They all hit then. All 5 of your crazy attacks.
I get 3 now because I used the step balloon. I forgot to say that one.
Alright.
I only get 3 now.
Only, she says. Only 3.
It's $24 damage.
Very nice. Alright, it looks it's starting to look a little like it's oozing something. We're not entirely sure what. Something kind of
Ducks up.
yellowish and golden. It smells sweet. And Jaffer, it is your turn.
Okay. Does it look like on death's door yet?
I wouldn't say death's door, but it doesn't look good. You would
Okay.
say that it's not going to take much more beating up, you think, at this point.
Alrighty. Jeffer's gonna draw her wooden toy gun, the little wooden gun, and she's gonna take a shot at it with a firebolt spell.
All right.
Is it still in the net?
No, it got out of the net.
So is it
Yeah.
is it straight roll?
Yes.
That misses.
Oh. Sorry,
okay.
Jaffer.
Jeffer's just moving forward more. Yeah.
All right. Fortune.
It's still floating 5 feet in the air. That's it.
Perfect.
I'm gonna punch at it again, but I'm gonna punch it at non-lethally because I don't actually know if they want me to actually kill it. So I'm just trying to knock it out.
Sounds good.
One of them hit, and the other one is not 20.
Alrighty.
We try to do all this.
We'll get the good damage.
I shouldn't have rolled them all at once because I don't. Well, I guess I could do my sneak attack on the one on the nat 20 just to make sure it's unconscious.
Alright. That sounds good.
I'm gonna double check that I added this right. Hold on. Sorry.
Please hold for math.
Mhm. Gotta double check those clickety clackety math rocks.
33 damage.
Alright, and
Nice.
this bullet, while it is suspended upon these bubbles and is oozing something, goes limp and is still being held aloft as what looks like honey is dripping off of it. And the Beachbolgs go running over to everybody, making sure that is everyone all right? Shimmerus looks very concerned. It's
Yes.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah. So wherever you want it to go,
Is
you
that
can,
dripping?
you can drag it in the air. It's just going to go with you. It's like a balloon.
Is that dripping honey?
oh yeah, it's a honey bullet.
I didn't kill it. It's just unconscious. I didn't know if you wanted me to or not.
Well, we appreciate that. We'll take it to the edge of the compound and make sure it gets back into nature. But we will harvest some of the honey because hey, waste not, want not, and we'll finish harvesting the dire bumbles as well. So, go ahead.
I have to stay with you so that it keeps floating.
Oh, that's fine.
So I'll catch you all later. Unless you... Would you prefer that? It looks pretty heavy.
Oh, floating makes it a lot easier to harvest. So please, thank you
Okay,
so much,
sure.
Jaffer. That's wonderful.
So Jaffer goes with them.
They take you off to a little corner of the farm where you can see just a little gate that leads out into the forest and up towards the mountain. And as you're walking, Shirmus goes, "Oh, well, that's where you'll be heading towards to go get the kraken larvae, which is what they're called." I know Gwilyn, I guess, likes the term baby kraken, which is not incorrect, but you know.
Interesting. So that's where they spawn up there.
Well, they can spawn anywhere, but this particular one, did you know that krakens are not just a deep sea? They can live in swampy marshes or lakes or ponds. Really, they can be just about any size. So the ones that we use are primarily from small ponds.
Interesting.
That way they
Definitely
don't
taking
get
notes.
too big. They're a little more docile, we've discovered, than the deep
Neato.
sea cousins. I just hope that Gwilyn's not too disappointed when she realizes it's only about the size of her fist.
We'll find out.
I think
like
the
a
only
little
ship it
baby
might sink is
jellyfish.
something in a bathtub, perhaps.
So the freshwater ones don't grow as big as the deep sea ones.
Correct. They're
Gotcha.
pretty confined by the size of their pond.
Okay, so say it's, left in like a bigger place, it just grows as big as it needs to?
If you could transport it into like a lake, it would grow bigger. Kind of like a goldfish. It'll get to, it'll grow to the appropriate size per the habitat it's kept in.
Interesting.
The rest of you back on the farm are enjoying fresh, very fresh dire bumblebee comb honey. It is sweet and just, it's got an interesting flavor to it. It's not quite like a traditional honey. Fortune, what is slightly different about how this honey tastes? What's a unique quality of it?
You can actually kind of tell, like, it has more of like a floral taste. You can tell that they were taking pollen and stuff from flowers. Somehow it's strange. They might have had to eat the actual petals or something because they're big.
Oh, I love that. And as you're looking around, actually, yes, you do see that several of the dire bumblebees, instead of landing on a flower to pollinate, because it obviously looks like these flowers would be crushed under the weight of these softball-sized bumblebees, you see them they land on the ground and reach their heads up and start just eating the little petals off. So you imagine the different types of flowers that they eat really influences the flavor of this honey. And Gwilyn, what color is the honey?
I would say instead of coming out as a kind of golden or brown color, it has almost a reddish purple hue, like tropical flowers to it. So it's very bright.
All right, and Crackers, give me one more unique quality of this honey.
Well, because the honeycombs themselves are so large, as formed by these rather large bumblebees, if one were to eat not the honey but the honeycomb itself, the honeycomb would sort of effervesce or create these sort of large bubbles in the mouth.
All right. Imagine that would be very interesting for like a honeycomb candy kind of experience almost.
Honey Pop Rocks.
Honey Pop Rocks. That sounds very... I'm not sure if I like that idea or not, but I kind of want to try honey-flavored Pop Rocks, and I'm a little concerned that I want that now.
Well, I'm thinking, like, if you mixed Pop Rocks into honey, I feel like it actually would probably be interesting, because the honey would cushion some of the popping, so you'd still feel it, but the honey's so thick, you're not going to feel it as much.
When my college roommate turned 21, we did a full surprise Harry Potter birthday for her, and we made acid pops by taking basically gosh, I forgot what they're called, but the Tootsie Pops, dipping them in honey and then rolling them in Pop Rocks to get the acid feel. It was quite an experience. Put it this way, I have never repeated the experience. It was very interesting. It was fun. All right, so after you guys have gathered several gallons of this honey, which you realize is not difficult considering the size of the comb itself, Jaffer, you head back and you all meet up back again into the little communal room. Suds, the alehouse drake, is still snoring loudly in his tankard. He has not moved. He has not woken up. But you do see Shemris and a few of the other Beachbolgs starting to load up the honey into pots to ferment and make fresh mead with.
Ooh.
It's so good. Coral, you've got to try it while you're here. It's so good.
It smelled good before I fell asleep. I think they might have given me some when they woke me up to feed me the other night, but I passed out pretty fast after they woke me up, so I'm not 100%.
That's fair. You'll just have to try more.
We gave you tea. It wouldn't have been right to give you alcohol while you were asleep.
That's a good point. You must have put a lot of honey in the tea then, but it tasted
That
great.
we did. And let's see here. Johnny Seven Toes comes over with a big bag for you guys. All right, this should be enough supplies to get you guys through to get your little kraken paralarvae. And there's a special tank. And he kind of opens up this bag, which looks to be empty, and he reaches inside and pulls out this large tank. You should be able to transport it in this and make sure it stays wet. It should be safe in there for at least 4 or 5 hours.
How many of these paralarvae can fit in that one tank?
Oh, usually 2 or 3, but they're fairly solitary creatures. I would be surprised if you found more than one inside the pond. It's been known to happen, but it's pretty rare. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward shot. Jaffer can show you. There is a path that leads straight to the mountain. It'll take a couple hours to get there, and then when you're there, you're going to enter a cave and go through the cave and come out the other side, and that's where the ponds are. There should be 4 or 5 different ponds, and usually the swamp krakens will spawn in one of them. You may have to check a couple.
All right.
No problem.
Just watch your step, and then you should be golden.
How big are these kraken babies that we're looking for?
Oh, he makes a fist. About yay big.
All right. Sounds like a plan then.
Yeah, it's the funny thing, the dire bumbles are bigger than they are right now.
That's alright. Easier transportation.
Does anybody need any healing or anything before you go? I know you guys took on that honeybee. Everyone
alright.
ship-shape?
I'm all right. How's everyone else feeling?
I'm good.
Alright. So he hands you guys the sack. There's some food and water for you guys too if you get hungry. No big deal. But travel on the island. There's plenty of food to be had as well. I'm sure you can find stuff. It's all around. So, but yeah. So we'll see you when you get back. We'll expect you back in probably. He looks at the sun. It's about mid to late morning. We'll expect you back probably close to sundown.
Sounds good.
All right.
Stay safe.
All right.
You too. Enjoy your trek on the island. And Johnny Seven Toes heads off and leaves you to your devices.
That felt ominous. I think Johnny Seven Toes knows what he's talking about.
I'd have to agree on that one.
Considering how worried they were about us getting hurt by that violette thing we killed on the beach, or not killed, knocked out on the beach, I'm guessing that they don't do a lot of fighting.
Oh, I
Don't
assume
think so.
not.
I kind of figured as much. That's why I didn't try to hurt it too much. I just wanted to get it off its feet.
We managed that.
Yeah, that's why I tried to net it. Unfortunately, it was strong enough to break loose, but
It's a good thought, though.
These don't really come with, she's holding up her rapier, much of a not dangerous option unless I just hit it really hard with the handle. So, yeah.
Oh, by the way,
I have more finesse with not really hurting super badly. It's my hands as opposed to a sword.
Yeah, they're not pointy at least. You were saying, Jeff.
Right. Last night I was working on this thing. Jeffrey passes out these little pouches. Now these pouches, they kind of share an extra-dimensional space. So if one person puts something in it, every one of us can access it. So like, I don't know what you want to put in it. It's up to you guys. I mean, you could put a potion in it, I think, or maybe 2. So then we can all access that. You know what I mean?
I was
That's
actually going to
helpful.
say that that'd be a really good idea, because then no matter which of us is nearest to the person that needs the heal, and they've got the potion handy.
That's a good plan.
Or food. Whatever.
Or both.
There you go.
Good job, Jaffer.
Please. It was child's play.
That's a good idea nonetheless, and thank you. And look at them, they're quite attractive as well.
Hey.
She'll tie it on her belt. So do we want to stick anything in it before we go up towards the mountain?
I was going to offer I could put in the healing potion because I keep forgetting to use it anyway, and I managed alright yesterday.
I
Could
mean,
put that
honestly,
in.
I could put mine in too, because since I can use the spells to heal, I don't really use the potions all that often.
And then we'll all have access to it. That works.
All right.
Communal health potions.
Yay!
Then you guys set off.
Bye, shiny baby.
Shiny baby is in his little corral at the moment.
I figure.
He does not respond, but he bet
Oh,
he will
look
be
at
there
him.
to give kisses and snuggles when you get back, I'm sure. Crackers is like, no, I am not kissing and snuggling a dragon turtlet. Not happening.
Don't you worry, I'll make sure that someone gives you lots of lovely pets since you like them so much, Crack.
He does. He does.
He pretends he doesn't, but he likes it. Deep, deep down. Very deep.
Sort of, I guess you'd have no frame of reference. Having someone sort of touch your hair is good.
All right. So you guys are passing through the cultivated fields and out through the gate and following the path into the more heavily, not necessarily wooded as in like a traditional forest, but more kind of tropical forest. There's, pineapple bushes and fruit-bearing trees and plants all around. Berries growing wild, just easily pickable and munchable on the road without much issue at all. And the first hour of your journey goes really well. It's a lovely day. It's not too hot. There's a nice breeze blowing from the ocean. And even as you venture further inland towards the base of the mountain, it's just very pleasant. The sun rises higher in the sky and you just feel the mist burning off, and the warmth of the day begins to heat up slightly, but not too much. You would say that this is perfect island weather.
As we walk, I shall whistle a soft tune, and with each note a strand of illusory mist passes from my beak and forms into a silent image, which I create of 4 tiny krakens astride dire bumblebees flying slow circles around Gwilyn.
I love it, Crackers. That is amazing. That made my day.
That is fantastic.
She stares at them as long as they last.
I would like one of you to roll a d20 for me to see how the second hour of your journey goes. Jaffer, because Zach, I can see that face.
Okay. $18.
It goes swimmingly. The day continues to be good and pleasant, and you start seeing it dim slightly as you realize you're beginning to walk into the shadow of the mountain. The cave is very easy to find, and as Johnny Seven Toes said, it's more of a tunnel, it seemed like, rather than a cave. It's very wide-mouthed and easily could probably have 6 or 7 Beachbolgs walk side by side at a time and not have any trouble at all. So the group of you have absolutely no problems entering as well. It is, however, dark in here fairly quickly. Does anyone have dark vision, and does anyone not have dark vision?
I have dark vision.
Dark
I do.
vision.
I believe
I
we all
do.
do.
Alrighty. So you can all see in the dark, which is very convenient. The cave seems to not have too many twists and turns. It seems to be pretty straightforward. It's quiet.
Does it seem to be natural or carved?
It seems to be natural.
Do I see anything interesting on the walls, like ore or something like that?
Give me a perception check.
$16.
Jaffer, you see a vein of something glittery and sparkly running alongside one of the walls. Seems to be giving off a faint blue hue.
What's this? Jeffer's pointing at it. It's beautiful. I want it.
Can we determine what it is?
I'm not sure.
If someone would like to roll me a nature check, they can.
Go ahead, little check.
Yeah, that should not be me.
A 15 for me.
All right.
Mine's just a 10. So
All right. Crackers, you fly over to it and you look a little closer, and you're pretty sure you know what this is. This is it looks like raw mithril and hits of sapphire, maybe? It would be worth a fortune if one were able to excavate any of it.
I say, we might have stumbled across a figurative gold mine. Or a literal
Really?
mithril mine, depending on how you want to put it.
Oh.
I want it.
Yes, I'm actually...
Jeffer pulls out her wooden gun and points it at the wall.
That's
Now-
not how one goes about mining,
can-
Jaffa.
No, it'll be fine.
will it though?
Jaffer, I'm not sure that's a good idea.
I want it.
Or she
That's
steps
fair.
away and is ready to run full speed, just in case. I can move 90 feet around. I'm not gonna get caught.
I don't have a pickaxe. I can't do this.
If you really want to collect some, we could probably get a pickaxe or some sort of shovel.
I've got a crowbar, but that's about as good as I've got. I don't want to damage my swords with that.
Agreed.
You would need someone who knows how to mine to get that. And I assume it's not easy to. You can't just pull it out of the wall, and you have to mithrils. You have to make it into armor, whatever.
Yeah,
Or
I
even
could
the
do that.
ore is fine.
Oh.
I can refine it. It's fine. I know how to do that. Jennifer pulls out a piton and her light hammer and begins to try to chisel out the wall.
All right. Give me a dexterity check.
5.
Fortune, we fly.
As you tap lightly, a huge chunk just trickles out of the wall. There is a raw sapphire, probably the size of your fist, that just came loose. On closer inspection, the wall here isn't solid. It seems to be rubble that has been put back, perhaps? You probably could get some more out of here pretty easily.
Do we keep trying then? It's either a really great idea or a really terrible one.
Jennifer's eyes get really big as she looks at the rest of her party.
We might want to ask the natives first.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that, but also we might want to examine the structure in here a bit more first. The last thing we want to do is dig at the wall and then have the whole damn thing come falling down on us.
Does anyone here know very much about mine shafts or caves and structural integrity?
Not a damn
I
thing.
know shapes, that's it. I can check based on shapes, but I can't guarantee you that I'll be particularly knowledgeable.
Coral does spend a lot of time in the taverns in Saltmarsh.
And there is a
Have
mine
I-
there.
Have I heard any of the miners talking about having to shore things up and like?
Yeah, you've heard
Support
conversations
things and-
about that.
Okay. Is there anything here that looks like they've shored up any supports, or is the ceiling like, is it like solid stone mostly, and it's just one section looks pushed together?
It seems to be solid stone here. You don't see any sign of a potential collapse. Maybe someone already mined here and this is what they didn't want, so they left it and they just moved it to the side because this is a path through. Or maybe the Beachbolgs just don't use it, so they pushed it to one side to keep the path to the Kraken's bondlings open. Because it doesn't look like there's any structural damage to this passway here.
You see Coral looking around, and then she looks at all of you. I might be wrong because I'm not an expert in mining, so we still might want to be cautious, but I'm looking around and it looks like it's solid stone through most of here. I mean, this looks like they might have pushed it together a bit, but like the ceiling's solid stone and so's that wall over there. There's none of the support beams that the miners are always having to talk about putting up. I mean, you should hear them bitch about how heavy those things are, but they put up a lot of them, and I don't see any. So this has to be pretty solid. Otherwise, it'd be collapsing on us as we go.
I mean, I don't know much about mines. I'll be honest, I avoid them whenever I can. But I have seen a lot of caves in my time, and that does look like a pretty natural ceiling.
So maybe they just pushed all this off to the side or something?
But why would you push sapphires and mithril off to the side?
What do they need them for?
They don't have currency. They said that. They trade in work.
We could try picking at it a bit more carefully just to see what else is there. But I don't think we should go knocking down an entire wall of this place or anything like that.
So don't hit it hard, just lightly pick at it. Got it!
Jennifer does it again.
All right, give me another dexterity check.
Willen was going to try and use her crowbar to help pry things loose.
All right, go ahead. Well, and you can go ahead and also give me a dexterity check.
14.
Jaffer, there is about 14 more bits of sapphire that come rolling off of the pile.
$15.
And Gwilyn, you get a nice big chunk of mithril. Fortune,
Yes.
you begin to feel what feels like a nice cool breeze coming from behind the wall that they are picking at.
There's a breeze now.
A
Where?
breeze.
Behind the wall. This, I think, is probably why it was here.
Secret tunnel. Ooh.
Well, the question is, what's on the other side of the wall? Are they trying to keep something out or keep something in?
That's why
We're going to find
I
out.
didn't want to.
I mean, she's not
Oh.
wrong.
I mean, that's fair, but just maybe we should be careful, so
Aren't we always?
Yeah, I'm
No.
totally careful.
careful is no one's middle name in this group of people.
Oh,
I don't even have a middle name.
I thought it was the. Oh, come on. Jeffrey bows at the wall.
Are you going to continue to try and get a little more out, or no?
I think,
hmm.
I think we should go ahead to our destination.
All right, well, I've got two things to say. First of all, if we're going to keep picking at this wall, we should probably do it before we go get the baby krakens.
Good suggestion. We should do
Seeing as-
that.
I don't want to
Let me
put the
fin-
baby kraken in the...
Seeing as there's a time constraint on how long we can have them in the tank.
See,
On the
well,
other hand, we might want to get the krakens back first and ask them if they know anything about this cave before we start digging and get ourselves into trouble.
That would be
Yes.
sensible.
they, this wall was probably built here for a reason. Even if they don't use currency, mithril could make very good, I don't know, farm equipment. You wouldn't have to replace it. I don't know. They don't do anything else with metal. You could,
Beachbolgs live a long time. A mithril shovel could be passed down, possibly. That's a
Yes.
good point.
But how would they feed their baby rust monsters if it didn't rust?
That's true.
I did once see someone dedicate a store using a giant pair of mithril scissors.
That's a waste of mithril.
Aye,
Maybe it was just mithril coated.
that could be it.
I don't know. The point is, I don't. Even if they have no necessary use for it, I don't see why they wouldn't take it. It's not like they don't. They hate everything that's pretty.
Well, how about we compromise then? We make the hole slightly bigger. She very pointedly looks at Gwilyn and Jaffer. Slightly bigger. So we could see if we can see anything on the other side. To get an idea of what might be there. And then we could keep going to the krakens after.
So if
Sounds good.
something bad happens, it's Coral's fault.
Well, fortune crackers, do you think that's reasonable? Just so we could figure out more information just in case they don't know what's going on either.
Of course. And we'll just hope whatever's on the other side isn't a bunch of tiny little crawly things that can fit through a tiny hole.
Well, now that you've said that, I hope it isn't as well.
Be ready to block it again.
Oh,
just in
easy.
case.
All right,
Alright.
let's do this.
I'd like you each to give me one more dexterity check.
17.
Alrighty. As you are chipping away, you get another beautiful chunk of mithril. And then there is a slight avalanche of stone as the wall shakes and then slides down to the ground.
That is poor craftsmanship and not our fault.
Agreed.
It's going to be really easy to pick up the mithril and sapphires.
Gwyn will look around first to see if she sees anything moving before she bends to pick anything.
Give me a perception check. Anyone else who is looking around may also make a perception check.
Jaffer's grabbing for stuff.
Yep, it's fine. It was a 5. Looks fine.
18.
22.
22 as well.
There is nothing coming. Seems safe. And as you peer down, you can see what looks like the end of the tunnel with some marsh just beyond it. Maybe you guys just found a shortcut through the tunnel.
See? No harm. And now we can pick up all this stuff. Good job, Jeff.
Good job, team.
Oh, that's strange. Did they block it off just so people wouldn't get lost going slightly off to one side? They're not that stupid.
Well, either I have absolutely no idea, or there's something this way that's maybe not good.
Well, probably.
But
If
then
I need
that's
to cave in the we'll go check it out, and if I can cave in the ceiling if I need to. No big deal. No, not a good idea.
Can I pick up a couple of the rocks
Sounds
that
good.
aren't the sapphires and mithril and toss them into the hall, the opened new space, just to make sure nothing weird happens?
Yeah. There's no response. Just the echo of the stone.
Well, it looks solid enough, and it doesn't appear that there's anything obvious.
I'm unconcerned.
I won't say I'm unconcerned, but I'm less concerned.
Definitely less concerned. Seems like it worked out pretty well so far.
What would you guys like to do?
Finish picking up the mithril and sapphires?
Right. So you guys pick up the sapphires and the mithril, and all in all, you probably have about 2,000 gold points worth of sapphires. I will calculate your mithril in a little bit.
All right, so should we continue down the path they told us to, or should we try this shortcut and see what happens?
I will leave that to the rest of you because personally I'm torn. On the one hand, I'm very curious, but on the other, baby cracking. I don't
Valid
care if
point.
they're small. I want one.
I say new tunnel.
Yeah. Sure. I can be ready to, I don't know, dodge anything that crawls out of the walls.
At the idea of things crawling out of the walls, Gwilyn just makes one of her swords appear in her hand just in case. Yep, we're good.
All right. Well, just in case then. And Coral pulls out one of her rapiers also. All right, Crackers, any objections?
Nope. Just so long as one of you goes first.
Shocking. Well, let's do this.
All right. That is about 5,000 gold worth of Kraken. Or of Kraken of
I
mithril.
want $5,000
Well
worth
done,
of
y'all.
Kraken. Great job. We have
It's
an
been a
army.
really long week.
Y'all were thinking in numbers of Kraken. I was like, that's a lot of rum, y'all. I
Yeah.
don't know if we can finish
There's a
that.
lot of rum. That's gonna use some rum right now.
5,000 of mithril.
Yes,
Okay.
5,000 gold points worth of mithril.
I have it in the notes.
No one can say you guys are gold starved in this game.
Oh, we're going to die rich. Making a terrible decision.
Sounds great.
So I think you guys are a little magic item starved, though. I should probably fix that at some point. Maybe
I
not
have
tonight.
none.
Yeah, you guys are level
I have
7.
all
and
of them.
You are level 7. I should probably get you some magic items here.
Java makes her own.
I do.
It hardly
It's true.
counts.
I have one to get rid of, but that's about it.
You don't know you need to get rid of that. You've never used it.
Now, I could use this mithril to make things. Just so you all know. Just food for thought. But Kraken.
Kraken. We will think on that. We've got time.
Jeffrey goes ahead and begins walking.
So does Gwilyn. Team intelligent bad decisions.
I love it. All right. And you guys begin to walk along. You do see the light literally the light at the end of the tunnel. You imagine it'll probably take you 10 or so minutes to get there. It's really just more of a faint glow with a little bit of green and blue kind of just beyond it. You continue walking, and aside from the sound of your footsteps, there's no movement in the tunnel at all.
Coral keeps checking around periodically. Just in case, because...
Nice. About 20 minutes later, you emerge into a lush wooded area. The sun is, let's see, this kind of looks like it's maybe late afternoon at this point. Not too difficult, not unheard of. You were in there a while. You can see this really beautiful grounds. You see pools of water. It's almost idyllic here. You can see some fun large mushrooms growing in the area as well. It's a really cool island. You've got all sorts of little biomes in here.
Well, it's beautiful.
Agreed. We should start searching the ponds for the krakens.
Aye.
Sorry. 1 second.
Jeffrey puts her hood up.
Right,
To
so
protect you from the DM sneezes?
No, just in case she goes in the water that she can swim.
Ah.
So, I'm thinking we'll probably have to move slowly or we'll scare them away. Possibly. Because
mean-
they're small.
It's possible, but honestly, you and I could just swim underwater and find them.
I was debating that. If we maybe not jumped in, but walked in.
Exactly. If we just slide in, like... Also, I mean, probably gonna depend on the water too, depending on how thick it is and how hard it is to see through.
Aye. Wait, let's see if we can find the clearest one and start with it first, maybe.
Sounds good. So, can we start off with the cleanest looking pond, the one that's easiest to see in?
Yeah. So you guys walk on over and you stare into the pond and give me perception checks, please.
19.
19.
Also 17.
5.
All right. Jaffer, this water looks totally normal. Looks great. Nothing in it, just some seaweed and water. Don't see any kraken in it, but it looks nice to drink. It'd be great to fill your water skin in it. Everyone who got a 15 plus, you look down into the water and see fathomless depths below. You look down and the world just goes on and on and on. You can see the roots of a tree hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles down below you. You appear to be floating above something. Whatever these tree roots are. You can see even like bits of crag, like you're on a floating island almost.
Well, that is not what I was expecting.
No. No, it is not.
I want to
That's
swim in it.
No,
Oh.
that's incredible, but what is it? I've never seen anything like it.
I have absolutely no idea.
Well, one thing's for sure, that's deep enough that anything that's in there isn't something we're gonna want to take back to them if they need a small kraken.
Not if they're after a small one.
Oh.
But a big one, though.
I know I'm tempted.
Do we want to look? I have to admit, I'm curious.
I'm not going to look. But if you want to look, then go ahead.
I might just look a little bit.
I'll join you.
All right.
All right.
Crackers, be ready to heal us if you know this goes really badly, or at least me. She's probably all right.
So you guys, how do you guys descend into this pool? Do you running jump? Do you ease in slowly?
Ease in.
Ease in.
All right. You put one toe in and it is like ice. It is so cold. It's not painful, but it is very chill. It's almost like ice melt. And as you ease yourselves in, you find yourselves growing a little bit numb to the cold pretty quickly. Do you put your head under, or do you swim down, or do you stay where you are?
Oh, Coral's like up to here. Maybe one of us should put our heads under at a time just to make sure nothing happens.
All right. Do you want me to go first? Since you could probably save me easier.
All right, I'll be right here.
All right.
She like puts a hand on Gwilyn's shoulder before Gwilyn puts her head under.
Gwyn ducks her head under.
Willen, you don't have to hold your breath. It's air. You are swimming in liquid air?
That is bizarre.
In fact, you're pretty sure you could see a squirrel running up that tree.
She stares at it for a bit and then pops up. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you about. But it's air.
It's air?
It's actually air. I mean, I know I breathe both, but seriously, it's air. And I know this sounds crazy, but I swear I did not have more than like a glass of meat this morning with breakfast. I swear I didn't. I thought I saw a squirrel.
A squirrel? You mean like running up the tree branches or something?
Aye, running along. Just like it's normal. But it's under this cold water that isn't water.
Oh, that's strange. Alright, well, let's go check it out then.
Okay.
Is anyone else going in now that they hear that it is air? All right.
Fortune says I choose life.
All right. Will you both go in, and you can swim as if it were water, but you are definitely breathing air.
See what I mean?
That's strange. It's amazing, but it's strange. Well, let's definitely not hurt anything down here, because who the fuck knows what's going on?
Hey. I would like to see if it's actually a squirrel, though.
I'm alright with that.
I mean, if it's not, then I want to know what it is.
Fair. Alright.
All right.
She's so closer to the tree.
Yeah, I'm assuming we keep swimming and looking around.
Yeah, you swimming and looking around, and this tree that goes down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet, you can't seem to get close to it. It just keeps. It must be huge. It's not hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet. It's miles and hundreds of miles down below you. And as you're looking, you do see it cresting out not too far. Maybe one of the other pools nearby. It looks like it's growing out from the side somewhere. And sure enough, you see these little fuzzy squirrels running up and down and out along routes to different other pools, it looks like. Along different branches.
Are they all connected? Is that what I'm seeing?
I mean, it looks like it, but... Oh, I mean, Gwilyn... Coral looks... Are there way more pools than what we saw where we were?
You see... Let's see here. I'm going to roll a d20 to figure out how many pools you see. You see 17 pools.
And the branches are kind of going up through all of them?
The branches seem to be branching out through all of them, yeah. So the pools appear to have different colors to them as well from this angle. When you were up top, you couldn't see different colors, but down here you definitely can.
Does this ring any bells?
Anything we'd have read
with bardic lore?
You may
situation?
make religion or arcana check. Or nature check, actually. Go ahead and make any of them.
Okay, so is nature or arcana or... I didn't hear the first one.
Religion, nature, or arcana, whichever one.
They're all a +1, so it doesn't matter.
Can Gwilyn check with Arcana?
Good thing I rolled decent. That's an 18.
He reads a lot. That's about it.
Coral, you'd be a little familiar with this with your background. You've heard stories of other Luteodine talking about the wartime of Lamina Island and what had happened to create the creatures there. It's not unheard of, different planes. You're not sure which one you're on. It's not the Feywild. You've no stories of that. But you're pretty sure not on the Prime Material either. Beyond that, you're not sure where you are.
Gwilyn, we're definitely not on the plane we started from anymore. I don't know exactly where we are, but it's not home, that's for sure.
I mean, it doesn't look like home, so I'd agree with you on that.
On these branches and these pools, I wonder if they go to other planes.
You have to make it sound more interesting.
Well, it might be more interesting, but it also might be more dangerous. I wonder if this is why they closed it off.
The temptation?
Oh, well, and the danger. And these definitely are not the same pools they told us to find krakens in.
That's fair. Although, I wonder if the kraken there are even better. Sorry.
Well, if all of these pools are different locations to different planes, there might be a kraken. I'm sure you could find a pool to the elemental plane of water where kraken are from. I'm sure you could find one there.
They might be a bit mean and big already, though.
Exactly. I mean, and who knows what would happen if we popped our heads out of one of these pools that's not the one we came from? Oh, shite. Which one did we come from?
That's a good question. Which one did you come from?
But we're definitely not going to just randomly try them now because that will make it even harder.
Alright, well, the water we came through looked clear from up above, but what did it look like when you looked back at me? Was it still the clear water, or was it a color?
What did it look like?
You can make an intelligence check to try and remember. While you are doing that, what are Jaffer, Fortune, and Crackers up to?
Jaffer has her rope of climbing tied to her foot and tied to a tree, and she's laying down, and her face is right against the water, and she's just like trying to look in it.
Go ahead and roll another perception check and see if your vision clears up. Crackers and Fortune, what are you up to?
I'm also watching into the pool, but I'm not right up against it like Jaffer. I'm just standing, leaning.
It becomes very crystal clear. This is water and doesn't look like this. This is craziness.
Can we still see the two of them in the pool?
Yes, you can still see the two of them in the pool.
Can we see them? Like their heads over the edge of the water?
Also, it's a 16.
There are so many different pools that you are looking at. It's hard to see anything. But with a 16, you do remember when you looked back up at Coral that there was a slight indigo tint.
It looked almost indigo. I remember that.
Alright, indigo, so that would be... And Coral starts looking around. Do we have to roll a perception check to find an indigo one?
You could roll investigation to find an indigo one.
Okay. That was less good. That's a 4.
You're having a hard time finding an indigo one. Gwyn, you may also make a check, though. Crackers, is there anything you're doing aside from watching them, or are you... I think you see that squirrel. It looks like it's getting closer to the top of one of the pools. Or closer to the top of that tree.
16 again.
Colin, you think you see that indigo? You think you've got it?
I think it's that way.
All right, I'll follow you.
Let's hope that goes well.
Well, that's true.
Alright, so while you guys are swimming up through the air, oh, this is such a weird sensation. Crackers, are you doing anything now that you've seen that squirrel?
Not in particular. Are Gwyn or Coral within 120 feet, or have they swum deeper?
They did swim deeper, but they look like they're coming back this way. They might be in range of 120 feet within the next minute or so. Maybe less.
I shall cast message to Gwyn and say, so, anything interesting? What did you see?
Trying to think how to word this.
Does message
Other
go across,
planes.
Does it go across planes?
You are currently on the same plane.
Okay.
Pools to other planes more than we saw. Trying to come back now.
Apparently there are other pools that lead to other planes, they believe.
If it looks like we're not getting any closer to them, I can try casting message since Crackers was able to get one to me. Maybe we could have them start waving or something.
That sounds like a good idea. But it looks like we're headed in the right direction.
Right, looks
It's
like it.
definitely the indigo one.
Do Fortune or Jaffer do anything with that knowledge that Crackers has just imparted?
Jaffer pulls out one of those pieces of sapphire and infuses it with like a rainbow light on it, and she just begins putting it in the water, just like around and around.
That definitely catches your attention.
Were we headed towards the right pool?
You were headed towards the right one, yes.
Oh, good, we got it right. That'll be Jaffer, has to be.
Probably. That's useful. Good thinking on
Aye.
her part.
Well, at least we won't end up in the plane of fire or something.
Oh, that'd be awful. Neither of us is going to do well there.
No!
A sea elf and a sea otter. That'd be the worst.
It would, that's why I thought of it. That was my instant worry.
As you're watching them approach, you hear this little chitter. And then a, hey, what you do? And Crackers, Fortune, and Jaffer, you look behind you, and there's this little squirrel looking up at you.
Did that squirrel just talk?
It's not that impressive.
It's a fancy boy. He talks. He sings songs. It's a fancy bird.
I like it. But I don't want to leave because I'm trying to make sure my friends get up here.
Fine, where'd your friends go?
I don't know. In the water.
Oh, they went in the pool?
Yeah. Is it near me?
Yeah, it basically just crawled on you.
Are you
That's
my
a
new
silly thing to
friend?
do.
How are you able to talk?
Yes.
How are you able to talk?
That's a good point.
How is he able to talk?
You know, I don't know.
I don't know, magic or something. I don't question that anymore.
Hmm?
So, are these your pools?
Me? Oh no, I don't own any. I don't own the pools.
Do you live here?
Oh yeah, I live places around here, over there, and up there. But who are you looking for? Are you looking for somebody? You in trouble? Do you need help?
No.
Cause I need help. If you could help, that'd be just a little me needs help. That'd be well, I'm so sad.
What do you need help with?
Can't find my nuts. They're gone. I had nuts. Was gonna eat them, but don't know where they went.
Okay.
Do you know where you left them last?
In the tree.
Did you look there?
I mean, it's a big tree.
Oh,
Oh, was it that tree? Point to the one in the pool.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's right. But I mean, you can also get to the tree over there, and over there, and over there. And he just starts pointing at different pools. Oh, and up there. And he points up to where this tree is coming out of one of the pools and just stretching out hundreds and hundreds of feet above you. And it looks like, as you look up for the first time, you can see craggy islands in the sky, just floating in this mid-afternoon to late afternoon sky.
what was in that honey?
Those been okay.
Sun is in the exact same position as when you got here.
Well,
okay. If the pools went to different planes, is it possible the cave did too?
Anything is
in-
possible.
You were in a cave? Ooh, what cave? I don't know of any caves. Is there a cave? Is there a cave nearby? Can we go exploring? I'm gonna go exploring. I'm leaving my nuts in the cave.
I'm gonna look back to where we came from.
You don't see a cave.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Gwilyn is going to be very disappointed.
Who's Gwilyn?
One of our companions down there.
Oh,
She
She
had her
the-
heart set on getting this baby Kraken, you see, and that might not be happening now. Because we may all be here for the rest of our lives.
Just out of curiosity, I want to look up and see if I can see Gwilyn and Coral, like, because looking into the pool looks like you're looking down. So, look up to see if I can see them up above.
gain inspiration. And yes, you can. And as they are getting just out of your sight, looking up, they crest the water in front of you.
Ah,
Oh, it's a fuzzy! I'm a fuzzy.
okay.
Well, that's
So-
new.
Some
Your
things have
friend.
happened while you were gone. The squirrel speaks. They are missing their nuts. We are apparently fucked because the cave we came through is gone.
What?
Probably why it was blocked.
Excuse me?
This adventure,
Wow.
It happens.
But we're
Lots
getting
of
baby
them.
Kraken.
But okay,
I
well,
told you
it's the
she'd be
thing-
disappointed.
there's lots of ways around and through and well, you don't have to worry. Hey, if you help me find my nuts, maybe I'll tell you.
Do you know if you can't find your nuts though?
Someone took my nuts. Yep, took them. Poof, they're gone.
Sure about that.
Very smart. It's my job to know things.
So you know how to get us back home then, and how to open up the doorway again.
Oh, maybe. Depends. Do you know how to help me find my nuts?
Maybe.
So yes, I know how to help you get back. It's fine. It happens many times. People go
Alright.
into one pool, they come out a different pool, and they go in another pool, and they come out a completely different pool. And they're always looking for the right pools. But I, Redatusk, can help you find your pool.
What was that name?
Redatusk.
That's a really
Quillen.
cool name.
Pleasure
Thank
to
you.
meet you.
And he grins at you, and it's at this point that you realize that this squirrel, in addition to his little tufted ears, has tusks that are coming from his upper lips, and he seems to be wearing a necklace filled with runes.
Okay.
I'm Jaffer. Hi.
Hi!
I'm Coral.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I'm Crackers.
Hello, crackers.
So how exactly are we supposed to help you? Do you have any idea where we might find what happened to your nuts or who stole them?
Oh yeah, that's easy. We just follow the tree, and then you find everything.
Right. Follow the tree. That shouldn't be too hard.
Nope. Not hard.
We're gonna die here, aren't we?
Jaffer begins to walk over to where the tree is coming out of the pool.
All right.
So do we go up or down?
Is there a difference?
Yes, big difference.
Alright, so which way do we go?
Where to go? Do you want to go up? Do you want to go down? Do you want to go sideways?
We want to go the way that'll get to your nuts.
No, then you have to go down.
That's
He
Fair.
dies laughing. He is on the ground. He is holding his sides, and just like tears are streaming down his face because he thinks he has told the funniest joke on the face of the planet.
guess I'd be concerned if they were somewhere else. So into the pool.
Well, you gotta check the colors. Colors are very important. Wrong color, wrong place.
Well, this one was indigo.
Yep,
We
so
know
that leads
that
you here.
much.
Indigo gets you here. Light me up, indigo, go. Oh yeah, nuts. Okay,
What color
my nuts,
are they?
they're brown.
What color pool?
Oh, what color pool? Oh, it gotta be more specific. Let's see here. Well, kind of like a greenish color.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of a lime or a viridian or emerald
An
or
aqua.
Emerald.
seafoam.
Emerald is good.
Emerald.
Emerald. Yes. Yes.
So do we jump back in there and look for green?
You can, or you can climb, or you could just follow me and I can take you right to the house of the person that took my nuts.
How about we do that one?
Because you seemed very intent on climbing up or down, so I didn't want to interrupt.
The squirrel will be our death.
I hate to agree
No,
with
not
Crackers,
likely. I'm very tall. I mean, I'm very small. Sorry. I'm very tiny. That's what I meant to say. I tried to say tiny and small at the same time, and it came out with the complete opposite of what I was trying to convey. I would not be your death. The person who took my nuts might be your death.
Who exactly took your nuts?
Big man. Real tall. Real tall. Taller
Tall
than you.
compared to us or you?
Oh no, taller than you. Taller than you. Not as tall as the tree.
That's big then.
Nothing's tall as the tree. Tree's the tallest.
Well, I should hope it's not bigger than the tree.
Do you
That
know
would
his
be
name
scary.
then?
No. No, I don't. I just avoid him because he's big.
Okay.
Ratatosk?
Yeah.
Please lead us to the place where your nuts are.
Whee! And he just starts bounding through the underbrush. And as he goes, you guys, I'm assuming, are following?
Following.
The squirrel really seems to enjoy talking.
Does anyone else feel like maybe there was something in the mead this morning, or is that just me?
Yeah, definitely.
I think I know why they had it blocked off now.
Yes.
It may take a bit, but I think we should reblock it when we're leaving.
Yes.
But not the mithril and the sapphires.
No, but the last thing we need is for some baby furbolg to go wandering in here.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I'm just looking at something real quick.
So, this has been interesting.
What's interesting?
That's a word.
As it looks like a Ratatosk just appears on your shoulder, Gwilyn.
Ah, hi.
Hi.
This place you live is interesting.
Oh, it's a good place. I like it. It's a good place.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Gwilyn, you turn to look ahead, and you still see Ratatosk ahead of you, but he's on your shoulder.
How are you doing that?
Doing what?
I can see you in two places.
Are you sure it's
Does
only two?
anyone else?
As another one appears on Cracker or on Fortune's shoulder.
You're seeing this, right? It's not me.
No,
I
it's
chased
not
the
you.
one on
There's-
Fortune's shoulder off. Off. My
Ah!
spot.
Not sharing my nuts.
That's what Crackers likes to say.
You have two shoulders.
You can stay on my shoulder if you explain to me how you're doing that. How's that?
Magic?
That's a helpful gift. It'd be great to
Thank
hire
you.
someone like that.
Oh, here we go again.
I already have a job.
What's
Okay.
your job?
Never mind then.
So, oh, I deliver messages. I am the messenger. I deliver messages, and I get paid in nuts. But if I just, maybe I take the nuts from the guy who gives me the jobs, then I don't have to take the job anymore.
And who hires you to deliver these messages?
Oh, lots of people. Lots of people. Depends on the person. Sometimes they pay me in nuts, sometimes they try to pay me in gold, which is ridiculous because nobody takes gold here. No point.
I mean, if you don't want it, we'd take the gold. Just saying.
Oh!
That's true. We'd be happy to take it off your hands.
Hey, it's in the way.
So if you help me find my nuts, I can give you the gold that is weighing me down, and then I can move faster.
Aye.
Absolutely. You still have to show us the way out of here, though.
Oh yeah. No problem.
We did not want to exchange the gold for not getting home.
Mm. Excellent. Okay, so all you gotta do is when we get to the house is you gotta just be quiet and very quiet, and we're just gonna go in and we're gonna walk past the dog and we're gonna walk because the dog is the scary bit. So we're just gonna walk past the dog and then we're gonna get my nuts and make it up before the Valkyrie chases us. Okay? Yes. Perfect. Awesome.
Make it out
Say that last part a bit slower.
Make it out before the Valkyrie chases us.
The Valkyrie!
Yeah.
And why exactly did the Valkyrie take your nuts then?
Valkyrie didn't take my nuts. She's busy. She's too busy to take my nuts.
Then who took your nuts that's there that we have to get past the Valkyrie?
Well, I mean, I don't really know his name. He just is. He's a real big guy. Occasionally gives me jobs, but, I don't read them. I just take them where they're supposed to go.
Did you maybe not deliver a message and that's why he took your nut?
Would I do such a thing?
I haven't known you very long.
Me, Ratatosk, not deliver a message? I am insulted.
You just said a few minutes ago that you might take the jobs and not do it and then take the nuts from the guy anyway.
No, I was just thinking that might be a possibility, not that I've done it. That's very different.
All right.
He
Fair
does
enough.
have a point with that. I
Fair
will
enough. So are we after stealing nuts that are actually your nuts? Or are they just nuts that you haven't done the jobs for yet? Because there's a difference there.
I must consult with my other half. I will be back. And he poofs.
Bah.
Well, that's concerning.
A lot of this is concerning at this point. Frankly.
Didn't he say the way out was the green pool?
Aye.
Why
Are
did
you
we go
thinking
through
about
that?
jumping in and looking for one?
Well, I mean, we've
That's the
already made it
way
this
to
way.
the-
Yeah.
Person.
Oh.
And we don't know where the pool is going to put us. Could put us
That's true. I mean, the one
different
that we
continents.
the one that we used was indigo, but when we went back, the cave opening was gone.
What if we popped up just in the middle of Lamina? Like, in the middle of it.
I've never
We'd
been.
get eaten right away. It'd be terrible.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I've been there before. Not to the middle of the island per se, but I've been to Lamina.
Yeah,
The
Coral.
oceans, anyway.
can live on the ocean. It's fine if it's on the ocean. But
I'm
what if-
going to jump into the water and swim away is what I'd do.
Well, actually, I mean, if we made it to Lamina, as long as we could get to the seashore, I could get us to my family.
See? There you
Yeah,
go.
most of them are there. The
that
only one
doesn't
that
change
stayed-
the fact that our boat is on that island.
I know, it'd be a very, very, very long trip for the boat.
So are you guys
Get back to
walking or are
Yeah.
you where?
At least Gwilyn was trying to still move in the vague direction.
Alright, give me perception checks.
25.
18.
17.
right. You
14.
see a couple of serpentine-like creatures looking down at Ratatosk with eyebrows raised and very large weapons, looking completely unamused. And just beyond them, a cave entrance.
What do you make of
Hello?
that?
Oh, what I make of that is that probably Ratatask was trying to get us to steal something from someone.
That seems probable.
And whoever that snake fellow is, he's telling him off, maybe? I'm not sure. They're not attacking, but he looks right angry.
Should we talk to him?
That depends. If he talks like Ratatask, no.
That's fair.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for talking animals. She gestures at herself and
Oh, right.
crackers. But that fellow is just non-stop.
It's the disconcerting jumping around bit that gets to me a little. Have to admit.
He just keeps nattering on non-stop.
You
I mean-
watch as one of these celestials raises a giant pole staff and whacks Ratatask, like flying through the air. You're not entirely sure where he landed, but he's probably not going to be back for a bit.
It's probably fine.
We either talk to him or we jump into the water and try to find Greenpool. Thoughts?
In for a copper, in for a pound. I guess it would be in for a copper, in for a gold. And she walks forward. Excuse me?
The lady turns her head and looks at you. Can I help you?
I really hope so, especially since you just punted our supposed guide off to who knows where. We got a bit turned around and ended up stuck here. We'd really like to go home.
Where is home? Perhaps I can be of assistance.
Well, we came through an indigo-colored pool, and when we got back, Ratatask was talking to our friends, and there wasn't a cave entrance for us to leave from anymore.
We started on a little island. It's uncharted where we're from, but there's a lot of furbolgs there and baby animals.
So you're trying to get back to the material plane.
Aye.
Oh, well, the cave is just behind you.
So that is.
It wasn't when we were there.
Right. None of you are celestial, are you?
No.
I'm the
Hey,
opposite of celestial.
You wouldn't have been able to see it then. All right, come with me.
Thank you.
Aye, thank you.
She gives a little whistle, and this tiny winged elephant pops in to view. Holly, can you stay here and guard the moonstairs, please? And he gives a little affirmative trumpet and kind of settles in. This little golden winged elephant looks all proud of himself as she begins to walk with you back the way you came.
Moonstairs.
Mm-hmm. Moonstairs. They're well, it leads up to another level.
I have to admit, this is a very interesting place. Sorry to barge in on you, though.
Oh,
It's
it
different.
happens all the time. You're completely fine.
That little squirrel fellow. back there.
Mm-hmm.
What was that all about? He was trying to get us to possibly steal nuts for him.
Ah, well, Ratatask is always a little bit of a trickster. It's his nature.
Ah, that's not surprising, I suppose.
Must not have had any good gossip for him.
Well, he was trying to get us to go help him get nuts back that he said were his. But then, when we questioned if they were actually his that had been taken, or if he just hadn't earned them yet, he disappeared.
Ah, well, that would probably be why he was being a bit of a butt then.
Gotcha.
When Jaffer gets to one of the pools of water, she wants to fill her water skin up with the water.
As you start to do that, you suddenly feel the woman's staff kind of crossing your hand. Not advisable, friend. I would refrain from that. You're never
I
sure
want a
what kind
souvenir.
of... You'd be bringing the essence of another plane of existence back to home. It could cause problems for you. It's also forbidden.
That's the word I care about that. Forgive me, milady.
She just nods.
What is your name, by the way?
Jaffer, give me a name.
Brunhilde.
Brunhilde.
Lillian Hayes. Pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
I assume we do introductions all around, but
Yes. So you guys make your way back past the different colors of pools. She eventually tells you that had you gone into the green pool, you would have ended up in the Beastlands, where Ratatosk would have been right at home, but you may not have been, as you would have all slowly, or not so slowly, turned into animals, which, Crackers, you fail to see why this is an issue.
Unless I became a dragon or a kraken, I'm against that. No offense to the rest of you. But I have set goals.
I would have probably been a goat.
And Brunhilde lets you know that if you ever accidentally find yourself here again, it's the silver pool that you need to look for to get you back to the material plane.
Thank you.
Please write that
Thank
down,
you.
Jaffer.
Useful to remember. Thank
Done.
you.
And she pulls back a hanging tree branch and reveals the opening to the cave.
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
If you
much.
ever decide to visit Isgard again, just let us know.
Gladly.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Aye.
We are very polite accidental trespassers.
And she lets you back into... You hear off in the distance, "The Lord of my nuts!"
Bugger all.
And you find your way back in.
Right, so, closing this?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hold on 1 second. I have to make a roll.
I have concerns.
Always concerns.
All right. Okay, carry on.
Consider flirting back there, but I decided it was probably a bad move.
You never know, but She lives on a different plane, so it'd be a bit hard.
Well, I was just afraid she might lead us back to the wrong place instead. That was why I didn't, to be honest.
That's fair.
Just in case it upset her.
Should I close it up then?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
I don't want to go back.
I mean, this looks like the right place, yeah?
It's just that the whole celestial thing makes me feel little uneasy.
I didn't like that the water wasn't water.
That was a bit strange. I'm assuming, does it look like we're in the right spot?
Yep, you can see the rubble of where you guys had dug some mithril and sapphires.
Jaffer gives a little bit of distance for her allies, and then turns with her little wooden carved gun and shoots a shatter spell at the ceiling, a bit of a distance away from her, to crash the ceiling down.
There is a rumble as rock and debris once again covers the opening.
Well,
Nay.
And it is a clear shot, the path that you should take.
Baby Kraken.
All right, lead the way.
You make your way through the cave, and it's pretty clear. And on the other side, you enter out into kind of a marshy area, but there are several pools under a moonlit sky full of stars.
Well, that's interesting.
I think we may have been gone for a while.
If they ask, we've had a hard time finding the Kraken.
Because we went down a tunnel that led us to Isgard.
Will they believe that one, and should we lead with that?
Why should we lie?
Well, it looks like they closed it off, so they must have been
To
down
be
there
fair,
before.
We have had a hard time finding a Kraken. It isn't.
It's not really a lie.
That's true.
Also,
Had
they
the
didn't
hard
exactly-
time because
they didn't exactly warn us there was a tunnel leading to another dimension that we just should walk right past.
We were given instructions to go straight down the path.
And who-
We didn't listen.
Who blocks a tunnel with gems and mithril? Like they wanted us to go into.
I mean, it's like they were asking us to take the shiny things,
It was a
which
test.
would break the
we
Honestly, I
passed.
think they probably think we're better people than we are.
That's probably
That
true.
is for the best.
All right, well, let's, I guess, set up camp then for the night.
Do we
Oh, well,
want
it's not
to
that
stay
far
in
to
the
get
cave?
back.
I'm not worried.
Does it look like it's like the middle of the night, or like?
I'd say it's probably not that long after sundown. You should be able to get back in one night without too much problem.
All right,
You all have dark vision, so it's not really affecting you very much.
that's true. All right, well, let's find the Kraken and get back then.
Sounds good.
We'll just have a late dinner.
Alright, so I'd
We'll
like
have
each
to
of
do this.
you to roll a d20 for me.
What?
16.
9.
17.
Right. As you are looking through these various pools, Crackers, you think you see what looks like a tiny grayish purple balloon with little tentacles coming off of it.
I think I found one.
Gwyn runs over.
Who has the tank?
Whoever was carrying the gear has the tank, I assume.
Sure, it's right here.
Very good. Yes, it's just there, that sort of grayish purple tentacle thing, I think.
Oh, good eye.
It's either that or an octorock.
You know what? I'd take that too.
All right. How do you attempt to put the Kraken in the tank?
I could levitate it.
Coral pulls out her net.
Gwyn tries to speak to it.
Okay.
Sticks her head under the water and tries to speak to it.
Oh, that's right, because you're a sea elf. I would say between this combination of things, it is not incredibly difficult to coax the Kraken into the tank. There are still several pools you haven't checked.
Yeah, definitely want to check them.
We
Right.
are checking.
Okay, go ahead and everybody give me a d20 roll.
5.
1.
1.
16.
16. Oh.
This set of pools don't seem to have any Krakens. You could try
That's all of them.
one more. You could try one more last time. Maybe you guys missed it.
One more.
Okay.
If you want, you do not have to.
I got a 20.
30.
14.
20.
Fortune and Gwilyn must have been looking in the wrong pools because as you guys search one more time, you do find one last baby Kraken. You did find a total of 2. Did have to find it, get a natural 20 to find the second Kraken. And so you convince this baby Kraken to come back, and you have 2 Krakens in a tiny cage. Well, in a tiny tank.
Gwyn holds up the tank proudly and shows everyone.
Jaffer puts her little like rainbow colored rock underneath it so it kind of glows.
It's like one of those little,
That's
the
beautiful.
shimmery, like crystal, engraved crystal things that you can project light through. Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like. And when you do that, you almost see like some phosphorescent spots on the Krakens kind of light up. They appear
like
to be
it.
dancing together.
Aww.
Aww.
That's adorable.
One of them is ours.
Yes.
These are freshwater ones though, so we can't put them in salt water or they'll die.
Right, that's going to be a little complicated, but we'll work it out. But they live in a marsh, which means that when we get back to town, they still could have a place.
Jaffer fills her water skin up with marsh water.
Okay.
Good.
You also
point.
know the Krakens are amphibious, so they can breathe air and water. The tank might just be to keep them contained.
Good. job.
All right, should we head back then?
Sure.
Yes. Gwyn probably talks to the little baby Kraken the whole way, just like ridiculously trying to make friends with them.
What languages do you speak? Oh, that's right. You can speak to sea creatures.
Coral would try talking to them in Aquan to see if they speak that.
There are some shared words because they speak primordial, so there are some shared words there. It tries in different languages telepathically with each of you. What languages do you all speak?
Common.
Common and infernal.
Common and Gnomish.
Aquan, Common, and Elvish.
Aquan, Common, and Draconic.
All right, so it manages to share a couple of words with those of you who speak Aquan. And Fortune, it speaks almost perfect Infernal.
He is a little concerned, like he said he would be a little bit concerned.
Yeah, right there, Fortune.
It speaks Infernal.
Why do all of my new children speak to you?
I like how they're your new children. Not the crew's new children. They're yours specifically.
I mean, I'll share them, but essentially, this one's mine.
Your Wumpertanger doesn't speak Infernal.
That's true.
That's
The
As far
Wolpertanger
as
does
I
not
know.
speak it.
None of
Haven't
us can
tried.
speak to the Wolpertinger. We're on even ground so far.
What language does the Whoppertingers speak?
I have no idea.
Does it speak?
I don't know that any of you tried.
I would be skeptical.
Gwyn will probably try now when they are back. He did not bring the Wolpertinger on this particular trip.
No. No, they did not. So you make your way back. It is an uneventful trip back, and you arrive in the compound. You would think just a little bit before midnight. There are torches that have been lit like a beacon, just in case you got lost. And you can see Johnny Seven Toes and several other of the Beachbolgs out there just kind of anxiously waiting, worried at the edge of their compound. When they see you, there's a loud cheer as they are delighted that you made it back okay.
Johnny Seven Toes, we found two!
Where
it took
have
us a
you
bit.
been? You've been gone for 2 days.
That's not good.
Well, that explains a lot.
Any chance our boat has arrived in that time?
Aye!
No, but I imagine they'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, that's
Right.
convenient.
So, how much exploring of the cave that leads to the ponds have you done?
Oh, 0 to none. It's a breeding ground for purple worms, so we try to avoid it. But it is the fastest way, so we only go when we really, really need it.
Missed out.
Aye, it was fascinating.
You guys think that might have explained why it was such a loose bunch of dirt.
That does explain things.
I mean, if you ran into one, it was only going to be a baby, so it wouldn't have been too difficult to deal with. You guys didn't run into one, did you? I probably should have warned you about that.
No!
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, no.
But you guys are all right. And you got 2 Krakens. Great. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Can we keep one?
I mean,
Please.
probably. We really only need the one. I'll talk it over with Shimmerus and the others.
We could trade some more help around the compound for a tank to take with us as well.
Sure, I'm sure we could come up with at least something else that needs doing if you're interested.
Do you have a forge?
We do have a forge, yes.
Oh, good thinking.
Fantastic. I'm tired though.
I can imagine. Did you guys get any sleep over that 2 days?
No.
Man, they must have been hard to find.
Yeah.
Yep.
Took us a while to get to him, yeah.
It did.
Yeah, why don't you guys go ahead and get some rest? We'll take these guys off your hands for now and get them all comfy cozy.
All right. I will see you tomorrow.
And that's where we're gonna go ahead and end it for tonight, with the safe return of 2 baby krakens and a small plane hopping journey in which
Nobody died. It's okay.
Wait, no one died.
it's fine.
And we have baby kraken.
You're not constructs and you're not undead. If you died there, you would have woken up the next morning with no problem.
Okay.
No big deal.
See, we're
Fine. Thank you, everybody, for watching and commenting throughout. It was really fun to interact with you guys in chat. You guys are phenomenal, as always. Thank you guys for coming out to support Heifer International this Nerds Giving. If you would like to donate and be entered to win some really beautiful animal art, please go to let me see if I can remember fundraise.heifer.org/nerdsgiving. Thank you very, very much, Matthew, for putting that in chat, so you can also just easily click the link. And you guys have always been, as always, amazing. And thank you to my wonderful players who put up with me throwing curveballs at them and putting them in random happenstances and places. I promise we'll get back to a real semblance of a plot as soon as Nerdsgiving is over and get back to the overarching theme of Saltmarsh. But, you know, for now, it's fun to play with baby monstrous creatures, especially for a good cause.
Agreed.
Very fun.
One more time, I'm going to have my cast go through where you can find them, and we will then leave you for the evening. We'll start with Jaffer.
Hi, I'm Zach. I play Jaffer Zanzib. You can find me on Twitter at DuskFadeDruid. You can also find me on the Nerdsmith Discord.
And Gwyn.
Autumn Blaze. I play Gwyn Hayes, and I'm on Twitter at Salanta Blaze and La Salanta Nario here on Twitch. And
Fortune.
I'm Jay. I'm on Twitter at JTXC with J with 2 Y's. And sometimes on Instagram with the same name.
Crackers.
You can, of course, find me here on the Friday evenings as part of this stream. My assistant, Matthew, can be found on Twitter at Matthew A. Siebert, and you can look into his podcast, the Land Above Podcast, at TLA Podcast on Twitter as well.
And Coral.
Hi, I'm Heather. You can find me on Twitter at amethyst_magic with a CK. You can also find me here at the Nerdsmith Twitch on Tuesdays and Fridays, and on the Geek Thyself podcast on the Nerdsmith Network.
And I am Tessa, your Dungeon Master. You can find me on Twitter at Silky Dreams, and you can find me Tuesday nights on Shenanigans here on the Nerdsmith channel, and of course Fridays, doing what I'm doing right now. You can also find me on In Vain Valpurgisnacht, which comes out every other Wednesday as a Vampire 5th Edition Masquerade podcast. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for my production crew behind the scenes, keeping us rolling and moving as you do. We could not do this without you, and we could not do this without our wonderful audience. And so, as I love to say, carry on, you funky little tieflings. Good night, everyone.
Hello, Internet. I'm Angela. I'm a director and creator. We here at Nerdsmith would like to wish you a very happy Nerdsgiving. The time has come for our second annual Nerds Giving charity event. 2 weeks of playing silly games with our friends while putting a little bit of good back into the world. This year, we are supporting Heifer International and their fight to end hunger while caring for the earth. They gift families and communities income-producing animals and provide the training to turn those animals into sustainable businesses. For the next 2 weeks, that's November 1st through the 15th, we here at Nerdsmith will be running animal-themed RPG one-shots and giving away delightful prizes during the streams. Stay tuned on Twitter for the latest show schedule or donate today at fundraise.heifer.org/nerdsgiving. It's bound to be amusing. No, don't cluck up this opportunity. No, just play the outro.
We are Nerdsmith. Bum ba-dum.
No. We're gonna try that again. One more time. From the top. We are Nerdsmith.